With a title like All Fired Up, you'd expect this episode to be one of those ones that makes you react like, whoa, whoa. Well, it isn't. Nah, but this is quite a duff episode. It's not good. We're close to the Pokémon League, but we're not there yet, and it's very evident. The episode begins with the gang arriving at the Indigo Plateau, the place where the Pokémon League is held, and Ash jumps for joy and it makes Togepi cry. Now, for those that have watched this series from the very beginning, you probably think this is the point where I call Ash Ketchum a numpty, but actually Brock and Misty are the numpties here. Ash's entire journey has been building towards him entering the Pokémon League, and they're finally here at the place where the Pokémon League is held. So of course he's going to be excited, like how can they expect him to contain himself? And let's be real, Misty, if you don't want surprises, spooking or scaring or upsetting Togepi, maybe stick it in a Pokeball every once in a while. Plus, she only had to rock it gently 3 times in her arms to calm it down, so was it really that big of a deal? As they reach a more built-up area, they see a street lined with people, and Ash assumes that all the people are there to cheer for him. Ash, mate, how stupid can you get? First of all, how would people even know who you are? Like, sure, the official Pokémon League organization probably has your trainer registration on file or some shit like that, but regular members of the public, they're not gonna have a clue who you are. Also, I thought Ash was meant to be a massive fan of the Pokémon League or something, so surely he'd have some understanding of how the opening ceremonies work and everything, all the bells and whistles that go with it, right? Oh wow, the Pokémon League has an opening ceremony just like the Olympics. How interesting and relatable. Seriously though, couldn't they have thought of something a bit more original than this? Like have the flame being brought in by someone riding past on an aerodactyl or something. You know, just something cool, not this Olympic bollocks. So Misty explains everything that's happening to Ash, but then once again, I know I've mentioned it before, but I'm going to mention it again. Why does Ash not know all this already? He's supposed to be a fan. He has the official hat and everything. Direct quote from Dexter.
Moltres, a legendary Pokemon. Its virtues symbolize the Pokémon League competition.
Dexter, you're talking absolute bollocks, mate. Its virtues symbolize the Pokémon League competition doesn't bloody mean anything. You're trying to say that Moltres' good morals symbolize what is basically a glorified cockfighting tournament? Pull the other one, lad, it's got bells on. Is this really the best they could come up with for Moltres? Just ham-fistedly link it to the Pokémon League? I'd rather have had another
no information available.
And wait, does that technically mean that Ash's Pokedex has more information in it about Moltres than it does about Gengar? How does that work? Ash says if that flame is really from a Moltres, then Moltres must be real. Which I guess makes sense, but is very dependent on a bunch of ifs. And Ash reckons that since it's real, he wants to catch one and train it. But Ash, if it's real and you catch it, then where's the Pokemon League gonna get their flame from? Always thinking of yourself, mate, aren't you? Ash decides he wants to carry the flame to the Pokemon League, so he runs over to the torchbearer and tells him that he'll take over. To no one's surprise, Officer Jenny turns up to point out that only approved competitors can carry the flame. Look, I know Ash is meant to be stupid, but even for him, how hard is it to realize that this kind of event would have been organized way in advance? You can't just rock up out of nowhere and expect to be entrusted with official Pokemon League torch carrying duty, can you? Sadly, I'm about to be very wrong. Officer Jenny doesn't recognize Ash, and then Ash and friends, of course, point out that they know all the other Officer Jennys. Ahaha, you get it? Because all the Officer Jennys are completely identical. Isn't it so funny and quirky, guys? Yeah, let's be fair. I was well over the Officer Jenny all look identical thing long ago. One thing I'll never get over is just how much impact likes have on these videos and our channel's position in the YouTube algorithm, which is the all-important algorithm. Praise be to the algorithm. If you could do me a massive favor and just bang a cheeky quick little like on this video, that would massively help this channel. It'd help this video get into recommended, get seen by more people, and just help everything thrive and stay afloat, and who knows, maybe even grow. Don't forget as well, sharing the video on social media and commenting massively help. If you can't think what to comment, just pick a really generic comment. I don't know, like
Shambo Wambo, this like just cost me a Lambo.
And of course, if you're one of the many people who are watching this video but are not yet subscribed, please consider hitting that subscribe button, turn it on all notifications so you never miss an episode of Pokemon WTF Moments. And of course, go back and watch all the previous ones, because we're like 74 in at this point, plus a couple of extras. After Jenny explains that whoever carries the torch has to be approved by the Pokémon League, a voice from behind her says that they think they should bend the rules a little bit and let Ash have a shot. Ash then asks if this person is Santa Claus. Ash, mate, you absolute dunce. You've met Santa Claus, remember? Like, he didn't even wipe your memory afterwards, so how on earth did you forget that? Ash is a numpty. Pass it on. And of course, this man is none other than Charles Goodshow, the president of the Pokémon League Torch Committee. Charles Goodshow. Fucking hell. It's a bit blatant, isn't it? You might as well have just called him Charles Event Planner, or better yet, Charles Torch Committee. What I'm saying is, it's a shit name. After Misty says that Goodshow doesn't look like a president, Ash says it doesn't matter what he looks like. Goodshow then agrees and says it's not what one looks like, but what one does that matters, and Ash looks like a doer. Wait, is he low-key saying that Ash isn't a looker? Ash, mate, I think you need some major burn heal after that. I feel bad for this nameless, mute torch bearer. He was doing a perfectly fine job carrying that torch, but just because Ash turned up and forced his way into the situation, this guy is now without that job. Hashtag justice for nameless mute torchbearer guy. And wait, did Ash change out of his regular clothes and into this weird PE kit in the middle of the road with this crowd of people watching? Mate, watching a kid get changed in the middle of the road? This crowd's full of pedos. Pass it on. Ash tells Pikachu that the flame came from Moltres and it stands for the whole spirit of the Pokémon League. Poor Moltres. Imagine being a legendary Pokémon and being reduced to nothing more than a sports mascot. I can understand wanting to steal Pokémon from the trainers at the Pokémon League, but why do Team Rocket want to steal the torch? Even on the black market, I doubt there'd be much demand for the Indigo League's Pokémon League flame. Like, I bet it's one of a kind, and the feds would search high and low for it, so it's not even like if anyone did buy it, they could even display it. I guess you could call it a hot item. I'm sorry, I'm not sorry. I've got to give credit to Team Rocket. They managed to outrun Ash in their hot air balloon and get far enough ahead that they had enough time to dig this giant hole which is big enough to sink a massive RV into it and still have room to spare. And fair play to Brock and Misty, who managed to stay in their seats on the roof of the RV. Misty did it without having any hands free to hold on with. Meanwhile, poor Officer Jenny over there is lucky to be alive. She easily could have been crushed by that RV when they all fell in. Maybe someone should, I don't know, check on her? Meowth jumps from the balloon and scratches Ash's face, and Ash's response is to throw the torch at him. Mate, you're supposed to be protecting that.
Good job.
Oh look, it's James's Victory Bell. Where's it been for the last 16 episodes? I don't know. Answers on a postcard. Victory Bell engulfs Meowth, who at this point is on fire, and within a few seconds the flames then engulf Victory Bell. Pokemon, this isn't how fire works. Lack of oxygen would have put that fire out in seconds.
Well, actually, Liam, if that flame is from Moltres and Moltres lives inside it, maybe it's a special flame and can't be put out like that.
Well, if that's the case, why does it need relighting at the stadium every year? Surely it would just burn forever. Plus, even if Moltres was inside this flame and powering it all along, I'm pretty sure without oxygen, Moltres would just die anyway. Ash sends out Squirtle and gets it to use Water Gun to put out the now completely on fire Team Rocket. Mate, I don't know why you do this. You should be making sure your friends who have fallen into a big hole with their vehicle are alright. And not to mention getting that flame to the Pokémon League. But instead, you're out here trying to save the lives of the antagonists. That's just not very protagonisty, is it? Jessie then gets up and for no reason at all tries to tear Meowth in half from the crotch by pulling both of his legs in opposite directions. Jesus, I felt that. God, with friends like her, who needs enemies? And even if tearing your friends in half was a perfectly acceptable thing to do, why have you got to do it from the business end? That's just extra cruel. Jessie is sure the famous flame from Moltres will fetch a fine price. From who? Who's out there that wants to buy this very specific flame that happens to look just like every other flame? I really don't think they've thought this through. Team Rocket or the writers, can we please stop throwing the flame? One, it's dangerous, and as we've already seen, someone could get badly hurt. Two, if you're not careful, all that swooshing is going to put the fucker out. Just have a Pokemon battle for God's sakes. Do you remember those? So while Ash and Jessie struggle over possession of the flame, with Squirtle trying his best to prise Jessie away by the face, I do have to wonder, Brock, Misty, I know you're down in the hole and everything, but does one of you maybe want to throw one of your Pokemon up out of the hole to maybe help out? I feel like Geodude would be a massive help right now, or even Zubat. Ash lets go of the flame after being tickled by Meowth, and as Team Rocket fly away in their hot air balloon, he drops to his knees in defeat. Here's a crazy idea, mate. Send Pidgeotto out to pop the hot air balloon like you did in the last episode. He knows that this disables Team Rocket's hot air balloon every time he does it, so why isn't this his first thought? He just gave up when he had a viable way of stopping them. Ash is a numpty. Confirmed. Times infinity. After all that, Good Show reveals that he had a lantern with a spare Moltres flame hidden in his jacket the whole time. Well, that renders everything in the past 5 minutes completely pointless then, doesn't it?
Yay!
Meanwhile, Meowth fucks up trying to fix the withering flame from the original torch and it ends up burning out. Well, that really renders everything from the previous 5 minutes completely pointless then, doesn't it?
Yay!
Also, don't smoke or this is what you look like. That's right. A pussy. It's my boy, it's my boy. Okay, so anybody that joined this channel or my community in general after 2018 or 19, just know this. Seeking is a good Pokemon if used right. Trust me on this. Praise be to Rolo. After Ash and Good Show ignite a new torch, Misty says,
Wow, looks good as new.
that's a weird thing to say about fire, isn't it? Like, what does new fire look like? And if you're referencing the torch as a whole, technically Team Rocket still have the old torch, so the reason this one looks good as new is because it is new. You know what else is new? Tetris Blast from G Fuel! This flavor is brand new and it's amazing. It tastes like rainbow candy. It tastes like that candy that kind of tastes like the rainbow. I'm trying to be very, very subtle with the kind of candy I describe, but it tastes like that. You know, when you put them all together, the reds and the purples and the greens and the yellows and the oranges all together into one big mouthful of candy, that's what it tastes like. It's amazing. Oh, it is super duper fucking amazing. Use code ACE, save yourself some money, get yourself Tetris Bloody Blast. It is fantastic. I'm salivating at how good this flavor is. Remember, of course, it's for over 18s only because children don't need caffeine because bloody hell, have they met themselves? They're really piss irritating. And of course, because it contains caffeine, just drink it responsibly. Don't be a dickhead. Oh no. It's my worst nightmare when I do this series. A montage. It's hard to get material from a montage because bugger all tends to happen during them. One thing I will say is they use the main intro theme of the series as the background music for the montage, but they play just the initial intro part with the kind of guitars going whew and all that, but then just as the lyrics are about to kick in, they jump cut it to the lyrics from the second verse, which is the one you don't normally hear in the opening credits. And man, the cut is bad. It's really noticeable, like awkwardly so. Once you hear it, you will never unhear it. So my advice is do not go back listening to this montage, listening for the cut between the intro cutting to the second verse. It is terrible. Hold the fuck on. I thought only approved competitors could carry the torch. Misty's not even competing. Just make Ash keep running. Give a shit if he's tired. Suck it up, lad. You wanted to carry the torch, so carry it. Oi, I thought only approved competitors were allowed to carry the flame.
Stop breaking the law, asshole!
Mate, I feel bad for Ash. It was Ash's idea to carry the flame in the first place, and yet Brock is the one who gets to carry it like the final mile to the Pokémon League before handing it over to the president. Mate, Ash got robbed by Brock. Brock owes him big time. Later in the Pokémon League village, oh look, it's Gary. Gary's cheerleaders cheer about him being the best, but I didn't see him carrying the Pokémon League torch. Just saying, Gary, you've missed the trick there. Ash is so eager to argue with Gary that he causes Pikachu to deck it onto the concrete. That's not very protagonisty. Direct quote from Ash's inner monologue.
What if I'm not ready? What if I'm no good?
Well, mate, you should have thought about that before you wasted all of your potential training days buggering off to places like greenhouses and sodding off to the beach. It's a bit late now to be worrying if you've not put in the work. Bloody hell. I really have turned into my dad, haven't I? Only more handsome. As the opening ceremony begins, a bunch of Pidgey are released from a giant ball, and then a bunch of them explode in the background. Pidgey, no, an explosion? Bloody hackers everywhere, and at the Pokémon League, no less.
Well, Actually, Liam, I think you'll find the explosions in the background were just regular fireworks, not exploding Pidgey.
Nah, mate, they were absolutely exploding Pidgey. The way you can tell is because I said so. Oh no, it's everyone's favorite announcer. Mate, the Pokemon Stadium flashbacks are a nightmare.
God, it's a one-hit wonder. It's biding its time. Hey, what's it doing? Down it goes. It's still biding its time.
And of course, who can forget?
Wah! Taken down in one hit.
Brock and Misty point out that Gary doesn't look nervous at all, and to be fair, he doesn't. But he's also pulling that face you make when you drop a silent fart in a crowded place and think,
Nobody knows that was me.
Team Rocket turn up and swipe the flame just before it can be put into the big bowl at the top of the stadium. Mate, I admire their bravery. Pulling this kind of stunt in a stadium filled with Pokemon trainers, some of the best trainers in the region, no less. That's ballsy as hell. Jessie then adds the flame from the torch to the little flame inside the giant bowl, and then Team Rocket all jump into their giant robot insect thing, which then in turn steals the giant bowl. But if you were gonna put the flame into the giant bowl anyway and then steal it with your giant robot, why not just let the girl who brought the flame put the flame into the giant bowl and just lie in wait with your giant robot insect thing? Like, they could have easily skipped an entire step of this plan and they would have had a better element of surprise as well. Team Rocket, use your noodles. I also don't get why Team Rocket have their giant robot jump into the stadium. You've got the flame, leave with it. Jumping into the stadium rather than away from it just increases the chance of someone stopping you. Like, I don't get it. What's even their plan at this point? After Pikachu's Thunderbolt doesn't work because the robot is shockproof, don't know why all their fucking robots aren't shockproof, but that's a story for another day. He sends out Bulbasaur, which uses Razor Leaf, and that just makes the fire bigger because it's leaves. And leaves don't do well against fire. I mean, what did he think was going to happen? I swear I'm losing brain cells the further we get into this episode. None of the logic from any of these characters is making any sense. It's a mess. Now, as much as I want to poke fun at the magic flame that doesn't hurt people that have a good heart or that Moltres likes or whatever bollocks they use to explain this, or apparently anybody in the stands behind Ash for that matter, and don't try and tell me the stands are empty because look, the robot backs Ash up against a wall of the stadium. And based on the position of the robot here, there are definitely innocent people in the path of that flame. But anyway, the thing I'm more interested in here is the fact that Team Rocket straight up tried to murder Ash Ketchum. They engulfed them in a giant bonfire. They basically attacked him with a flamethrower, but on a gargantuan level. Jessie even says the kid should be crisp. Mate, I know Team Rocket are the bad guys, but Jesus, that's evil, even for them. Oh look, Moltres was inside the flame all along. Okay, sure, but then what's the point of this torch business? Like, if Moltres' flame at the stadium already contained Moltres, then why did we need another flame to top it up? And if Moltres was inside the flame that's inside the torch, then why does it need to be brought back to the stadium every year? Why doesn't it just stay there? I mean, if it leaves the stadium every year at the end of the competition, then maybe that's a sign that Moltres doesn't actually like being dragged away from its home every year. Liam, this is anime. You are using far too much logic. Please take your logic and put it down on the floor where no one can find the logic. After Moltres batters Team Rocket, it turns back into fire, back inside the bowl, and then the announcer says that the opening ceremonies will now continue. But mate, look at the state of the bowl and the platform it's on and the steps leading up to it. That's a massive safety hazard. What if it falls? They should be postponing the opening ceremony until someone can come in and do a risk assessment. Goodshow gives an impassioned speech to all the trainers getting ready to compete in the league, but hold the bloody phone. Where the hell did this lot, these literal Pokemon trainers, where did they go when the Indigo League stadium was under attack? They all ran off like a bunch of pussy bitches. Even Gary didn't get involved. I'm appalled. The narrator asks,
will Ash discover he's out of his league? Who knows?
Me, I know. He is. Then again, I guess I'm cheating because I'm technically from the future. But still, even looking at this objectively, with 5 Pokemon, 3 of which are barely trained and 1 of which doesn't obey at all, and then back at Oak's lab having 32 Pokemon, 30 of which are the same species, and all 32 not being trained at all, kid's gonna get eaten alive. So those are my WTF moments for Pokemon Season 1, Episode 74, all fired up. Let me know your favourites and any that I missed down in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Head over to twitch.tv/AceTrenlium 5 days a week for all of my lovely live streams. I'd love to see you there. And use code ACE for money off G Fuel. Try Tetris Blast. And until next time, I'm Ace Trenlium. Keep on training.